It's Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple, and welcome to this week's Nadex Weekly Charts and Analysis. And I just realized that, you know what? It is no longer September. It is October 5th today. So I will go ahead and change that real quick. Trying to mix it up on you guys. Go back in time. That'll be my crystal ball for the week. But there we go. We are set with October 5th. It's amazing. I cannot believe it's October already. I literally feel like we just started school last week. And I mean, we did start late, but wow. Whew, October. And if you guys caught our broadcast this morning, the camera was not working. I was in my Halloween costume already, the ghost, but still haven't gotten to the bottom of that one. But yeah, it's October. What are you gonna say? Everything's going crazy. So for those of you that are new this week, welcome to the group. I'm glad you guys are with us, and we'll break down what's going on in the markets right now and what we can look forward to for the rest of the week. For any of you that were here this morning, we talked about the markets pulling back for a potential long opportunity. I hope you guys caught that one. If you don't know what I'm talking about, every morning Todd and I are on YouTube, and what we're doing is we're breaking down the kind of what we see for what's hot and what's not in the morning. And this morning, great setups, right? We had the pullback, we had the explosion forward, and again, I took a little screenshot. I don't know if you guys saw me flash it up real quick. I was actually trying to show Todd. I forgot that I was already sharing that screen. I think we moved 14 strike prices on the 2 hours to the top side. So you want to talk about major movement off of an opening session. I'll show you guys will be able to see it in the charts, but yeah, it was like 14 or 15 strike prices in less than 2 hours. So yeah, that's what we do. So again, it's fun. So anyway, let's go down. Here we go. My wife is sending me crazy messages through the window or through the phone. Okay, she's excited. It's actually more for my daughter. Anyway, for those of you who don't know me, I'm the president and CEO of Keep Trading Simple. I've been doing these presentations with Index now for almost like 3-4 years now. It's been an awesome ride. It's been fun. I enjoy doing it. I do some of the education summits for him as well. My training style is a little bit different. It was awesome. I had a mentoring appointment yesterday. If you guys were here at the last education summit, I gave away free mentoring sessions, and I had one of those sessions yesterday with a gentleman, and he's like, "Yeah, he's like, I've been following, looking at charts for like 15 years, and he's like, your style is the complete opposite of the guy, people that I've heard, and I love hearing that kind of stuff. Yeah, I do look at things differently. I'm not a big indicators guy, so if you guys are looking at my charts, you'll see that I don't have 27 indicators all over the place. I'm basically using supply and demand, reading price action, and finding supply and demand areas. Um, with that said, I've been around for a while. I started trading actually back in 1999. You guys remember Y2K? And I actually live where the tech bubble actually happened. So been through a lot, seen a lot. Started with traditional options. I'm not a 12th generation trader. So again, I kind of did things. I was in the school of hard knocks, right? There wasn't places to go learn how to trade. So learn a lot along the years of what not to do, and then I realized that 99% of what they tell you have to need, or that you have to have to trade, you don't actually need. And it's not that it's purposely out there to confuse people, but man, it does a heck of a lot of confusing people. So you know. It is what it is. I actually did spend some time inside of one of the advisor divisions of one of the big three banks. Learned a lot about bonds. I knew absolutely zero about bonds, their importance, what they had to do with anything in the world. Learned another whole aspect of trading, and that really kind of helped change my eyes on the rest of the world out there as well, because I didn't realize how much influence they actually had. Left that industry though, and just went out and started to teach. So I've been doing that for a while. I did spend 6 years on the road though, in the U.S. and Canada, and that's where I met my wife. So it was definitely worth the 6 years of traveling. Right now, I just want to update you guys. For those of you that have been following, we are still a family of three. We're not a family of four yet. We are officially at 39 weeks and what? 3 days. So like basically 39 and a half weeks. Baby is still in. Melissa's holding firm. Uncomfortable, but many of you have asked and sent emails, and we're not there yet. So by this time next week, I would imagine I'll be saying family of four, but right now, family of three. We're still holding there. It's been fun. So, but we're ready. We're ready. We're ready. So, with that said, that's enough about me. Let's go and let's go through the Nadex risk disclaimer. That trading on Nadex involves risk and may not be appropriate for all. Members risk losing a cost at another transaction, including fees. Now, you should carefully consider whether trading on Nadex is appropriate for you in light of your investment experience and financial resources. Any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. None of the material herein or included herein is to be construed as a solicitation, recommendation, or offer to buy or sell any financial instrument on Nadex or elsewhere. Now, Nadex is subject to U.S. regulatory oversight by the CFTC, and Nadex is a registered trademark of the IG Group. Big mouthful. I can't do it without taking a breath, and I do have to kind of look at it still. I haven't quite memorized this one yet, so no scout badge for me. Anyway, here's what we're going to cover today. Whoops, there's two. There we go. Sometimes the mouse wheel is a little bit, a little crazy. Anyway, first things first, we're going to cover the upcoming news events. Now, extremely important. This is a big week, as you guys know. First trading week of every month is the non-farm payroll week. We have both ADP as well as the just standardized non-farm payroll report on Friday. You guys know why I love news. It gives us a lot of movement in a very, very short period of time. If you're not looking at it, you're absolutely missing out. And hopefully I've converted a lot of you guys over to looking at these. Make sure that you look at both Daily FX as well as Forex Factory. Sometimes their forecasts are a little bit different, but again, both equally valid. And again, make sure you check those out. And then what we'll do is we'll dive over and look at the indices. Now, again, I hope you guys have been watching on, in morning times on YouTube. And for those of you that aren't, it's very, very easy to find. Everybody has YouTube at this point. If I don't even think you need the email address. You just log in, right? Just go on YouTube, search Nadex, right? Find the Nadex thing, hit, follow, and then hit the bell notification icon. Whenever we go live in the morning, it'll literally send an alert to your phone knowing when we go live. It's 15 minutes, right? 8:45 to 9 a.m. Get you ready for the trading day. The indices were awesome this morning. So again, we're going to cover the indices for the rest of the week. We'll cover Forex and see what that market is doing. Again, we've had today was a little bit flat, but in the last couple of weeks, we've had some really big movement in the currency market. The pound got slaughtered for a while, then just went absolutely insane. New Zealand now is raising interest rates, so there's going to be some movement over there. Australia is probably going to be next. The Canadian government, now that their election has passed, they're probably going to start talking about it. So there's going to be some amazing trading opportunity over there. And then last but not least, commodities. Oh, where do we start with commodities? Gold, oil, silver, right? Gold and silver finally took a little bit of a bounce yesterday. Oil, we know the story there. I mean, gas prices are going to be like $10 a gallon, and everybody will feel great about climate change. But, again, we still need oil at this point. And, yeah, that one's going crazy. You guys know my saga with natural gas, right? Natural gas is back over $6. I still have not called the guy. Eventually, I will call him and be like, hey, listen, you told me don't buy it till the fall. It's expensive now, and now it's 3 times the price. So it's gonna be a fun conversation. I'm gonna record it. It's gonna be all over the meme, arena. I can't wait to hear that discussion. He's gonna be like, well, I don't really know much about the market. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. I don't need it yet. We're close. I'm close. I don't need it yet. We're still holding at that 20%. But yeah, we're getting to the point where my wife's getting a little nervous. She's like, well, you think maybe we should get in? Like, what if we can't get it? What if it goes to like $10? I'm like, I think it's overinflated now, dear, but I guess whatever, happy wife, happy life. You guys know how that goes. But we will break down all 3 of these and kind of see where the opportunities are. So with that, let's go over and let's actually just start pulling the charts. Pull this one right here. This is the right one. All right, let's go back up and we're going to start with, actually, you know what? I lied. We're going to start over here first, and we're going to talk about different reports. So I'm going to click this, and we'll get it. Right now, you can see the biggest mover right now is obviously the pound yen up at 100. It's the first place my eyes go to every time I get on this page. Just because of the scanner at the top, it's like in your face. Daily FX has something similar, and again, you guys know Daily FX has that one kind of really, really cool function. They have a lot of cool functions, but the one that I like is the consumer, like the sentiment of the IG traders. I think that's awesome. This doesn't have that, but I love this 24-hour pip change right in your face at the top. And again, we see a lot of pound movement. So as far as news goes today, you guys can see that a better than expected ISM services PMI. Okay. Talked earlier how it was really the only U.S. report we had today. It could provide some really big movement. And because of it, all the indices went straight up in the air, right? Great trade setup off the open. Hopefully you guys were using those short duration contracts. They're working out well, right? Later on, actually, in just a couple minutes, we have the ECB president speaking. And again, this could create some volatility in the European Union. Right now, it looks like the euro is on a little bit of a weak kind of path, but that doesn't mean a whole lot. That could be the weakness, like the calm before the storm. We could be seeing a pop in the euro dollar as well as a pop in the euro pound when President Lagarde starts speaking. So we'll see how that goes. At 1:15 today, we have Quarles speaking. Now, Quarles can move the market a little bit, but it's no Powell. When Powell speaks, the market moves, right? There's a couple of them. Bullard's another one. Brainard is another one that can move it. Quarles, voting member, but not necessarily the biggest market mover. So just kind of be aware of that. I mean, it's people coming back from lunch, so just watch it. Tonight, New Zealand. Obviously, the New Zealand news is big. They were supposed to raise their interest rates. They are the first nation since COVID has started that is now raising interest rates. They're at the stage now where they're ready to start doing it, to start curbing inflation. We're tapering. The ECB's waiting another 2 months to start doing it. New Zealand is going first. They were supposed to do it last time, and because of quote communication issues, they were unable to do it. But the market's already kind of factored it in. There could be a double. I've heard a little bit of rumors that there could be a double raise, which I think would be very interesting. But I think right now everybody's pretty much set in. But again, first nation to start raising interest rates again. And then tomorrow morning, 8:15, non-farm employment change from ADP. Okay, so this number, and I want to show this. This number, it's not accurate often. Okay. It doesn't matter that it's not accurate often. You really don't have to have any idea what it really is. Just understand that it is a very important news or economic news release. Last time the forecast was supposed to be at 640, we missed it by a lot. Prior to that, close to 700, also kind of disappointed. Now they've kind of adjusted a little bit, right? They've adjusted it. They're supposed to be 425,000. And again, it's still higher than the last 2 months. We'll see how this one goes. Okay, this could really set the tone, and there can be some amazing trades in that kind of 8 to 10 window, as well as there will be a rippling effect at the open tomorrow. So a lot going on with this one tomorrow morning. ADP, I think I used to work at ADP. It was actually my first job out of college. I think at that time it was 1 in 3 paychecks were written by ADP. I don't know if that what it is now. The way that we have online and everybody's an entrepreneur. I don't know if it's maybe it's higher. I don't know. But yeah, so like 1 in 3 paychecks was written by ADP in the United States when I first, back in 2000. So ADP has a lot of control. They really got the payroll situation down. So big mover. Then we followed up with crude oil inventories. Now, crude oil is interesting. We don't have a forecast yet of that one. But last week, look at this. Last week, we had quite a big surplus number. Why is that important? Because OPEC came out yesterday, and OPEC was basically like, yeah, I know you guys want 800, but we're only going to do 4, right? OPEC is trying to get this price as high as they possibly can get it to make as much money as they possibly can. But meanwhile, we're sitting over here with a surplus last reading last week. So could there be some volatility? Sure. Don't forget, make sure you check the API, not ADP, but API oil inventory report. It comes out at the end of the trading day today. And then tomorrow morning, this report is actually the EIA, right? EIA, the Energy Information Administration. That's the official report. Tonight is the industry specific report. Could they make some fake numbers? Yeah, they don't. There's no repercussions for not reporting of 100% accurate data. Not saying that they purposely lie, right? But if they're off a little bit, then that does make a difference in what the number is. But again, look for the movement tonight. European session open 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. Don't forget that's where a lot of the movement has been happening. They get that API number, it adjusts, and the UK traders go crazy with it, and then the US traders are a little bit behind for when the EIA number comes out. So it's almost like 2 completely different trading setups, right? That's a big one for tomorrow. And I think with everything OPEC said, it's funny. OPEC's like, we're not going to make more supply, but yeah, we see supply being or demand being really high till 2035. It's like, what? Who the heck's talking about 2035? Thursday, unemployment claims, IVPMI for CAD, as well as Macklin. Macklin is basically the pal of Canada. So again, could provide some great movement. Remember, although the Canadian currency is a proxy for oil, oil moves the CAD. CAD doesn't move oil. Okay, just remember that one. So if there's major amounts of movement yesterday, obviously the Canadian dollar will move that way. The dollar CAD will, again, oil prices go up, Canadian dollar typically goes down. Okay, it brings strength there, and that's kind of it. Also, with the RBA Financial Stability Review, it's a good one. You guys know I typically talk about how much I love Australian news. The stability review is okay, but I wouldn't say it's as good as like a retail sales or any of those numbers. So just watch out for that. As far as Friday, October 8th goes, we know that's a big one. Here's your non-farm payroll number. This is arguably the biggest news event that happens. It's the first Friday of every single month. The unemployment rate also expected to go down, although again, take that with a grain of salt. People that haven't worked for a year are no longer included in the calculations for this. So it is an inaccurate report right now. Okay. Now, average earnings, again, this is interesting. We're seeing it go down from what it was prior. Why are average hourly earnings important? Well, we're seeing inflation go higher, right? Which is again supposed to be transitory, but if you're paying people less, that means we have less money to spend on more inflated goods. So yeah, there's all that. Okay. Um, Not necessarily the best sign for the indices. So if we have a bad NFP number and a bad hourly earnings rate, don't it doesn't matter how great the unemployment rate is, that could be a red day. I know people love those feel good Fridays, ending on a green, shooting for all time highs, but yeah, it's kind of a recipe if those two are negative that we could actually have a red Friday. And it's not like the indices have had a great few weeks anyway. All right, we're getting in a time in October where it's always a little bit more difficult, right? Um, we'll see as we get closer in the week. All right. So that's the week. I would love to say it's a lot of news releases, but it's really a lot of clustered ones. I mean, yeah, there's 5 reds on Friday, but it's all at 8:30 in the morning, right? There's just not much else there. Tonight, I mean, the market has already known that we're going to do this official cash rate change. Last month, when it didn't happen, it sent the New Zealand currency flying because it was like a 99% that it was in, and something happened at the last minute that they couldn't do it. So, you know, just keep that there. I would say if I had to kind of, I typically give you guys kind of like the trade of the week. I'd probably say oil and probably the non-farm time frame, whether it be with Canada or with the U.S. dollar. Probably the two biggest of the week. A lot of the other ones are kind of smaller. They have the ability to move some, but they rely upon a couple other moving pieces. So 8:30 Friday, I would say, is probably the biggest one. And again, don't forget the way you trade a lot of these things. You can trade them before, or you can trade them after. We've talked, and I've done different webinars with Nadex. You know, parabolic retracements is one of them. Non-farm payroll is absolutely one of those types of news releases that parabolic retracements work. That again, it's one of the big ones that it was tested with. So again, if you're not familiar with those, again, go to YouTube, search parabolic retracement and Nadex, and you'll be able to find those webinars that are out there. Okay. All right, let's jump over. All right, so as you guys know, we're always looking for we do our analysis on the indices with the 15-minute time frame. It gives us the most data in the shortest amount of time. It's kind of the sweet spot for the indices. This morning when we were talking, we were sitting back in right here. And I said that, listen, for the open today, we have a little bit of a level, one just a little bit right below it as well. We were looking for a pullback at the open. Well, I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm just sharing my screen, but here was the pullback, and it did. It went right below the zone. It actually grabbed this zone right below it. But I want to bring this up, right? Here, this is the picture that I screenshot earlier. Here is, and again, I'll put it right next to it. You guys should be able to see it because I believe it's on that entire screen, right? This is where we were sitting. So you can see it's the same exact picture, but do you guys see how many strike prices, right? This is what we're looking for at the open. Now, again, it's, 12:20, right? 12:19. I can't tell you where the price is going to be tomorrow. I don't have a crystal ball. But this is one of those ideal opportunities to be able to catch a pullback at the open. That, remember, session opens are some of the best opportunities. And again, this green box over here, that green box, again, this was done on the Nadex platform. That is the 2-hour binary window. Look how many strike prices have moved. I know I preach every single week. Short duration contracts, short duration contracts. Guys, look how many strike prices that is. Right? It's like 14, 15. It almost hit the top one, even with all of them there. Right? So again, this is what you need to do at the open. That's why we dropped down to the 15 minutes. All right. So where we are right now, prices kind of pushed through that level. And we mentioned that, 43, 41 was probably the next area where we'd be looking for some type of getting short. As it turns out, we rallied very, very fast and we based right at the very, very start of it, meaning not a good opportunity to go short. We're forming buyers right here. And you can see it pulled back and actually pushed higher. Now, where we are, we know that, again, price has been up here just a little bit higher, and we know that we've had kind of a roll around right there. And that's kind of where we're getting to. Question is, can we maintain this upward pressure today? I would say right now, yeah, there's probably going to be a bit of a retracement in this one. The trade has already happened for the day. And again, could we use these levels for tomorrow if we hold here? Maybe. But what I'd really be doing right now is really kind of just, and again, it is a little bit early, right, for the afternoon. The important thing will be today is to start looking at when the, kind of where easy levels are to see, right? Right now, this is one, and you can see that looking to the left, you can see that this is an area where sellers have gotten in before and other sellers have gotten in before. The last time we've had major movement is all the way up top up here at 44.05. Now, am I saying that 44.05 is coming today? No, but could it come here in the next day or two? Sure, it could. But the last time that price was up at 44.05, we had a very, very fast downward push, almost instantaneously, right? Boom, just hammer to the downside, right? So it's definitely something I would watch out for. Again, you're seeing price pull away from this level. It's hit it once and spend some time, hit it again. It's making another attempt going into lunchtime. Not really a great setup, And again, do we look it for a Harry Potter? Not really. I mean, there's some sellers just right above and a little bit more and a little bit more. I think you wait till it's clean, right? We get in that racetrack. Anything above, let's see. Anything above 43.88, we're clear. We're smooth sailing up top. So at this point, I'm kind of like, man, could we get a great non-farm ADP non-farm number tomorrow to drive us up, and then look for maybe a Thursday rollover back down? Could be. Could be. But I'd mark off 44.05, keep it on your charts. When price gets up to there, we'll kind of see what we do. And then tomorrow morning, don't forget, drop down to the 15-minute. And again, if you want to catch us on Nadex, if there's a setup, we'll talk about it. But again, great setup off this one. NQ, kind of the same thing. NQ, Todd ended up handling this one and mentioned it. I was, one of the things that I was looking at, I drew this black line there, was that we had a hard trend line, right? Everybody knows that the rule for drawing a trend line is you have to have 3 touches. I mean, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. Man, it's getting stronger. Well, guess what? There's 5 right at 9 o'clock, right at the session open. As you guys know, this is the icon for the session open. Right there, it's your 9:30 session open, right? Banging off of a trend line. So, yeah, could you have gotten long, use the same strategy if you're not a supply and demand person, if you're a trend line person? Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. It literally pulled right back into that zone, grabbed that thing right at the open, and bam, took off. Now, it is also at a level right now, and I'll move this across. That's the open from the other day. Let's shrink that. I want this one right there. So you can see we are at an area that, again, has been tested. Now, it is lunchtime. The volume has gotten very, very low during lunchtime. So it's one of those things that, are there the last few people trying to jump in? Yeah, kind of, right? Kind of. And in fact, I mean, you can see the other line we had on here. This was an old Harry Potter tested line. You guys can see it did the same thing. It based in one candle, came back and touched, then it went higher. So again, we weren't doing anything off of that. But again, the same kind of setup we talked about also continued to, again, old area became the new level, right? So I would say we're kind of in a similar area. It's an area that's been touched. It's in touch here. It's been touched here. It's been touched here. It originally bounced here. There's one sitting right above it right here as well. So again, you can see that we're kind of stacking levels. Yeah, it can go higher, but it's going to have to grind a bit, right? Got to grind a bit. Wow, the VIX is down VIX is down 8.9%, a little bit outside of the bell curve there. But kind of the same thinking. I mean, the next area where we have a really good, clean, barely tested level is going to be up top here, and it's about the same distance away percentage-wise, and that's up at 14,900, right? It says 14,904, but again, it's more or less the round number. It is definitely a parabolic move, but it's just retracing what we saw yesterday. So we got to chunk through a few levels. We know we got some sellers actually sitting right there as well. So there's really 3 levels to chunk through. I would say watch the session open. See if we start faulting. And again, so far everything's been good, but that non-farm number tomorrow, that the ADP non-farm can really put a big kind of throw a big monkey wrench into this one. Okay. But again, that would have been your setup off the morning. YM, kind of a similar scenario. Again, we talked about getting profit here at 34,187. You can see this one pulled back. Again, had you been a futures trader, guess what? You got stopped out, right? It pulled back at 9:30, but it went even lower and grabbed this other level right here. Beauty about this one is, again, had you traded this with Nadex, I mean, this is, here's your 9:30 candle, right? Had you traded this with Nadex, by the time it hit 11 o'clock, it had gone up 434 points. So remember, in Nadex, if you had taken something out of the money, you would have got it cheap. As it went down, what happened? Nothing. And then immediately turned when it hit that level and skyrocketed through, and you would have been profitable. So again, one of those scenarios where having that maximum risk is really what you put into the trade. And again, had you used the knockout this morning, if you used the knockout here and it went low, you would have got knocked out. Had you had a stop loss, you would have got stopped out. But having that binary contract, saved you, and again, price rallied higher. So, you can do see it's doing the same thing. It's basing and kind of doing its thing. But I would say watch out. There's a few levels up here. There's one just sitting a little bit higher. We know that there's sellers that step in right there, and again, kind of came in at the same exact level, right? Touched here. They didn't let it go any higher, and they just did the same exact thing. And so the question is, now that we kind of have this failure to go lower, scenario, right? Now, are we gonna start kind of taking profit from this morning's gains? Maybe. I'd say maybe. Um, the one thing I would watch out for is this is kind of where we get this like bracketing effect, right? We got sellers up top, we got buyers down below. Who's going to fail? Okay. So one thing that I would say is if we do get a break below here, right? 34 246. There's obviously a level that we can form of basing right there. This went up so fast, right? It went up so fast today. There's not a lot of buyers on the other side saving it until we get all the way back down to that lower level, right? Really, until we get down to this level right here. Whoops, I don't need that one. Let me make sure I get the right one here. Right there. Okay. So with that said, that's quite a lot of ground. Could we set up a Harry Potter position in here? Sure. Sure, we could. Right. Something along those lines. Like I said, I don't know when it's going to come through, but if it does come through, there's a potential setup right there. And going all the way to its full profit target on the other side, it's a 1 to 6.3. That's a pretty decent trade setup, right? But we only draw them for 1 to 3s. Okay, so again, not a lot of hiccup to the downside for that. And then Russell. Russell started off strong, but what did Russell do? I mean, what did I talk about here? Turning and potentially rolling, right? Well, the Russell's it's already off to the races. Now Russell did the same thing. It ended up going lower, it spiked higher, grabbed some of the sellers up top. It blew through this one. It kind of had a hiccup with the green one. So if I remove this first group right here, you can see that we hit and pulled back down again, right? And then made another attempt, and it ended up being the sellers up here that had actually used the turn. But what did it do? It retraced almost all the way back down again. It's only up 0.44% at this point. So what started off as the leader is now the laggard. And it's actually, I can't even say laggard, but it's basically almost retraced its entire move to the top side. And again, it's exactly what I'm talking about. The Russell tends to be a little bit more fluid, I guess is a better word. Again, I say it's more of a leader because again, it's the small caps. They get hit the first, right? It's the little guys, right? It's not the big old juggernauts that are a little bit slower to move. It's not a battleship, right? Um, so that's the indices today. Like I said, crazy movement. And again, the Russell I think is the most complicated to play because it's the easiest one to kind of manipulate. Going across that into currency. So Aussie dollar, let me bring this back up to 15 or 30. So Aussie dollar is really just kind of staying inside of this sideways channel. We have some levels up top we were looking at. We mentioned, and again, depending on what broadcast you were, we had levels in here where we had buyers. And I mentioned I don't really love the level because again, it hit here again, hit again, hit again, hit again. They only last for so long. It hit it again here. So again, this is a European session open trade. Could you have traded this one? Sure. Right there's your 3 o'clock candle is actually right there. So could you have traded it? Sure, absolutely. But again, the more times it hits this level, the more chance it has of failing. And then kind of gone back up, and it's really just been stuck inside of this same channel. So right now we're on the upper side of the channel. There are two levels. Again, one that's a little bit more aggressive at 73.09, one that's a little bit less aggressive at 73.17. Um, Take it for what it's worth. Uh, non-farm is a big one. It will affect this one tonight with the New Zealand number changing around. The Aussie will see a little bit of a spillover effect. This one is only up 0.12%, so it's not really a ton right now. And in the grand scheme of things, when you're looking at it, the Aussie dollar is only up 7 pips in 24 hours. So not really not one of those super, super exciting positions right now. But again, know that there's levels right above. So, way that you play this is look to see how the market closes today. If we're up there, again, Nadex contracts reprint. You could take advantage of both New Zealand and the dollar in the morning. A couple different contracts you could trade. Um, yeah, probably not the short duration contracts tonight because you want to get non-farm tomorrow. So, but there will be extra time premium. So it's kind of like, yeah, you could technically go with like an 11 a.m. one. You could just trade it in the overnight. You could wait till morning time and figure out where it's better positioned, and then just trade just purely the dollar aspect of it. A lot of ways you can go, right? Aussie yen. Aussie yen's up about 0.5%. Now it is a little bit higher, and you're seeing that it's having some issues. Again, the aggressive level is the one that it's kind of having some problems with right now. And again, this is probably most likely due to the yen. because obviously the Australian market is not open. Kind of the same thing. This one has moved a little bit more, but we're still more or less in a sideways channel. But we are running into those sellers right now. This level hasn't been hit as much, but again, when you see it in the Aussie dollar and the Aussie yen, tends to be an area where you really want to spend some extra time. So again, I would say where we're at, watch it. Um, you could do a little bit more of a Harry Potter, wait for confirmation, right? Wait for it to pull down. You can also do the color change. I've mentioned the color change a few times. I actually, one of the mentoring people I work with today, I talked about the color change. She didn't necessarily have a strategy. If she's watching out there right now, I'll go ahead and draw it real quick. But again, talking about you know, what it looks like, and again, color change, guys, is just a very, very simple, kind of basic way to get into positions. If you're looking for a little bit extra confirmation, right? I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but there's what we would call a red, green, red, right? If you're looking for confirmation, particularly if you're like new to drawing zones, you can use this. And basically, the rules of a color change is, we have an an upward tide, upward slide, right, or upward boom, and then you're looking for it to kind of stop and turn. One way to do that is when you have a red candle close, you have a green candle next that it does not break the top of the red, and then a red candle close below. That would be considered a color change reversal. It's very, very basic, right? It's not, it's not a very technical tool, right? Like it's not the flex capacitor inside of the DeLorean, right? From Back to the Future. But it's a very, very simple way to get a confirmation after we leave a zone. And again, we're leaving a zone. If this green, again, maybe there's three more green candles sideways, that still qualifies as long as one of them doesn't close above. It's still technically valid. We have the red candle. We're waiting for the green and then the other red to close below. And in a racetrack environment like this, again, this could provide us with an opportunity to go south. Okay. Actually, I just actually covered this with a wonderful woman that I talked to this morning with a mentoring session. And I've been doing a bunch of mentoring, but I will say my entire calendar filled up for September. For November, like three-fourths of it filled up. But I gotta say, there's a couple people that have just, not, there are people that had to cancel because they had legitimate, reasons and they rescheduled. But there's a couple people that signed up for free mentoring and then didn't show. And I was kind of like, hmm. But anyway, this is something I actually covered today with the woman that was on. We talked about color changes and basing things off of level because she was a new trader. So if you guys did not get one of if you did not use your free mentoring token, you guys are more than willing. You're more than welcome to go look at that webinar, grab the link, and sign up for one. I mean, it's open to any of the Nadex students that have attended a broadcast. So I will say it's been a blast doing them so far. But this is what we covered. So there's a very, very simple pattern if you guys are looking for a reversal in the Aussie. Now, Euro pound. This is a level we talked about. We had a short from last week. Again, it came back up. It hit the level. We had talked about it coming through. It's been very, very grindy since. It came all the way back down to 85.07. It's hit it now. It hasn't moved a ton, right? The European session on this one started right here, right? Right. It kind of pushed it down in this bounce. It's still continuing to push lower. I haven't seen. Let me see. While we're here, let's click this. Um, Dynamic regions at the heart of a strong Europe, so that's pretty good. More inflation is on the way. There you go. That came out of it. We haven't seen we haven't seen any pop in it yet. So they haven't said anything that we don't already kind of know. Um, but yeah, EU retail sales, more inflation is on the way. So remember, the way that people curve inflation is rising interest rates. So yeah, which is actually not good for the the stock markets out there because again, lending becomes more expensive and companies don't make as much money. So yeah, so that's good to know, but the market is not seeing it yet. But anyway, it's pushing down. It's hit that level at this point. We've kind of got a little bit of a bounce off of it. Neither the European nor the UK market is open right now, so it's one of those ones. Like ideally, I like this zone when we have a European session open. I don't know if we'll still be here tomorrow morning or not, but with as much movement as we've had in the pound today, I'd say, I'd look for the potential reversal. And you may say, well, what do you mean a lot of movement? Well, I mean, the pound yen is up 106. Not that that's not normal, but same thing. This one is down 30. So it's pound strength, pound strength, pound strength. Typically we see a day of strong, day of weak, day of strong, and it kind of reverts back and forth. So it's at a level. 85.07 is when we talked about it. It hasn't gone, crazy in the other direction. But again, with the markets being closed, there's a whole lot less volume and less factors driving that one. Um, just know that we are kind of set up for somewhat of a reversal now. Now, Euro yen, you can see that Euro yen really made a big push, right? 830 on. And now we're kind of right in where that speech is, right? We have this speech going on right now. It's been going on for about 10 minutes. We got a couple of headlines, but the market has not reacted yet. So it's in an area. I mean, it's here, right? The last time price was here, we did have a strong push, although it went pretty deep in. We're kind of at the same level right now. I was really hoping we would drive past that level up into the 129.63. It didn't push us there. It is an additional 30 pips higher, so maybe Lagarde says something that pops us up. Um, but I mean, just on a purely technical basis, if this was a European session open, this would be a short all day, right? Um, but with her speaking, it's kind of like it's there. And again, this one is up 0.31. So it's up a third of a percent. So it's not a horrible trade. But I really like this zone a lot better than I like this zone, even though this one is tested. So it's there. I mean, there's a potential short there. Let's see. It's got about 35 pips to the downside. Could you use a shorter duration? Yeah, kind of. But remember, shorter duration contracts are great for times of volatility. Their market is closed right now. So even though, there's a speech by the ECB president, there are less people in the markets right now. It tends to blunt kind of the news aspect of it, right? You guys, again, there's these handy dandy calendars, but you can see right here, London market is closed, right? Market's closed. It's only the US market right now. So it's not going to be as a big a move. If this was still 8:30, 9:30 in the morning, if this was 3 o'clock in the morning, yeah, it's a much better trade setup. So just be cautious with it. But again, on a technical basis, yeah, it's set for a reversal. You can see the US euro dollar. Also, we were waiting for this one to go a bit higher up to 116.63. There's a level of basing that it kind of came to, but it really didn't even hit. It got close and it started to roll over, and it looks like it wants to punch lower. I mentioned yesterday the euro dollar is not really my favorite pair right now. I don't like a lot of the grinding and chopping through. A lot of the zones are kind of pushed to the brink. The only things that I have are really clean are 116.63 and then 115.22 down below. We got a lot of room to run for that. We're kind of stuck in the middle. It's not really the ideal setup. I like clean. I like easy. I'm not trying to create things that don't exist, and I think that's what we're seeing happening right now with this one. Pound yen. So pound yen is pushed up, and again, we mentioned earlier. Actually, yesterday we talked about it as well. 152.06 is what we're looking for. You can see that it is kind of having some problems now, right? It got very, very close. This one missed by a total of 3 pips, right? 3 pips. We have a red, we have that green forming, and again, that same red, green, red. Could you use that on this one? Sure, absolutely. I mean, the pound last week was just getting hammered. This week, it's kind of reversed and has come back up again. Are we going to see that same kind of reversal downplay? I mean, it's there. I mean, sellers have stepped in. You can see they're having a lot of problems right now. Markets closed. What kind of help can we get from the yen? Could be a good opportunity. I think a cleaner entry is the 152.70, but again, 152.06 is something that we've been watching out for. So yeah, it is there. Um, um, is that animal in the IG advertisement in the picture? Yes, it's a sheep. It's a sheep. I didn't make it. It wasn't me. That was marketing. But yes, that was an IG sheep. And IG, I guess, is pays for advertising, right? There's one over here too, right? Yeah, those are IG ads. Yep. IG, like I said, IG owns Daily FX, but I guess they also pay for advertising on Forex Factory. They're everywhere, right? They're everywhere, right? Look at that, a plug. And I guess they do the red sheep because IG colors are red, right? I feel like that's what it is. And like red's catchy, right? Like people follow red, right? I feel like that's what it is. But yes. Yes. Actually, KM, that is a funny statement. Yes, traders are always considered sheep. Yeah. That's actually a very common kind of terminology. Yeah, because think about it. Like sheep are told what to do, right? Go in this pasture, go over here and eat this grass and go eat this hay and go over here and like let me cut your wool off for clothing, right? People traders are I guess the analogy is used with sheep because think about it. Like what do the professionals tell you, right? There's ratings agencies that are you should buy this and you should buy that. You should sell this. You should and like the people that are making money off this are the ones that are telling us what to do. So it's the same thing, right? The market is like a farmer and people are like sheep. I'm going to give you a buy rating on this stock, but meanwhile they're the guys selling it to you, right? Here, let me take your money and I'm going to put it in this mutual fund because I need to get out of my positions, right? It's them cutting the wool off. So yeah, it's pretty funny, right? Yeah. Anyway, there's your pound yen. Pound dollar, kind of the same scenario. It pushed up. It didn't quite get back up to that zone, but 136.58 was the level that we were looking for. It's not quite there, right? It's not quite there. It's kind of close, but it's not quite there. Um, yeah, if you wanted to see this one roll, it's close, but it's kind of the same idea as the euro dollar. It's not as clean. You can see a lot of basing, and in fact, look, we had this one level of channeling here, and then if we take this, once it broke out of that, all it did was form a new channel up here, and then this covers like 99% of the movement in there. So it's really getting kind of stuck, right? Getting stuck in these channels, and same thing. Big area here, big area here, big area here, and it's the same channeling, right? So I'm kind of hoping the next channel is going to be back down again. I think the movement's decent. This was a nice little hiccup. It was on a 30-minute. It goes from that medium to that kind of buy range again. There's not really, I mean, the only time we really have any true kind of really nice pops in here, I mean, there's a decent pop in this level here, but it's a far way away. There's a level of basing also sitting right in here, which is decent. It's okay, but it didn't have that explosive, like, oomph, right? Um, like I didn't get the oomph part of it, right? So I don't really necessarily love it as much. But I think 136.58 is a decent level. It's matching with what we see the dollar yen. Um, so yeah, see it roll. Anyway, dollar CAD. So dollar CAD is pushing down. The reason why this is going down obviously is because oil is going up. Right, when oil prices go higher, it's good for the Canadian currency. The reason why is because again, their number one export is oil. They are not happy with the United States right now whatsoever. Right, the pipeline was a way for them to get oil out faster, easier, cheaper, and then we canceled it and cost them like a couple $1 billion, like thousands of jobs. But as the price goes higher, again, the dollar CAD will continue to drop. We are getting to a level though that again we did see some buyers coming in. You can see that it has black text, not white text. Reason why is because that was a target, not necessarily an entry. We could take a bounce off of that one, but it's got to be one of those confirmation bounces. It's got to hit it, come higher, leave the zone, kind of come back again and not go as deep. And that's kind of that like reversal Harry Potter, right? The out of the zone base pullback and then get long or short. So we're kind of looking for that. But right now, I'd say it's still in a downtrend. This one will kind of bounce a little bit later with that API report, right? The oil inventory report. We'll see if oil prices continue to soar. But right now, oil's up almost 2%. So yeah, the reason this one is not down as much as it could be, and only because it had a pop yesterday. So yeah, but you can see pretty much since the Europeans took over, they took over right here. There's your 3 o'clock candle. You can see it's been basically one direction, straight down, right? And again, oil is up almost 2% for the day. Nice day in oil, right? Dollar Swiss. So dollar Swiss yesterday, we had crazy bits of movement, and we were looking for somewhat of kind of a bounce. And again, we talked about a level that was there. We were looking for it to go short a bit more, and it just turned on us, right? At about 10:30, and again, 10:30 is a common reversal time, right? There's our reversal level, right? 10:30 was the bottom. I was hoping that we'd get down to the 92.18. That was where I really liked the reversal the best. It did base lower than one, and it was kind of like, come on, just a little bit more. I would love to take the reversal because we talked about it. This was over a day's worth of movement in 6 hours. Again, whenever anything is outside of a daily ATR, you got in one session, you got to be looking for a reversal. And it is, it's a slow reversal. And again, looking for an entry, it hit, it hit again, broke through, based. And what did it do? It Harry Pottered and pulled back. So again, as far as that zone, again, it's reversing back that parabolic move, and it did turn at 10:30 in the morning. But again, we were hoping for a little bit. We wanted it to be just a little bit cheaper, and we didn't get it. So, or I didn't get it. Maybe some of you guys did. But again, easy Harry Potter entry for the parabolic move for the downside, and now it's just kind of just stabilizing and basing sideways. So you can see, really, European session, it did nothing. European session started right here, right, and then U.S. session started right here, right? So for like 6 hours in the European session, did absolutely nothing. It did pop and then came right back down again, and we're back in the same spot and going a little higher. So I would say with the dollar Swiss right now, let this thing grind. I think if we can get back up, and again, it's not the ideal area because it's been up here a bunch, but if we can get price up into here for a session open, 93 flat. I mean, it's 93.01, right? But 93 flat, I can put it just a little bit right there. I think 93 is probably the next area sellers will step in. It's a round number. And again, you can see a little hiccup. That's kind of what it went off of, but I don't think I'd use this hiccup again. There's your hiccup. I don't think I would use that hiccup again. I'd wait till it gets a bit higher. Again, round number trading, I think is a little bit better. Anyway, dollar yen. So dollar yen, I mentioned this earlier, was not really interested in taking a short again. We had the one, the two, the three, and this was kind of whether you're four here or you're four here. I was not interested. It did hit and pulled, and all it did was go through and punch through the other side of it. So dollar yen right now, I'm not really looking for any type of short position up until 112.01. There's a little hiccup here, and again, we're cleared now. Kind of the same thing with the touches. I don't really like any of the longs. None of them are really strong pushes. It's actually rather consolidated. Here was the Sunday gap, which I really, really liked. And we're driving. And again, we've hit this level so many times. It just, again, form buyers and help punch through the next level. There's nothing here. This is a pure racetrack up. So it's got 60 pips to go before we get there. A little bit far. Not worried about it really. Um, Maybe tomorrow morning, the ADP number helps us a bit, right? Maybe. Um, it's okay. I don't know. This of everything, it's kind of like, eh, I think there's better opportunity out there, right? I don't want to steer you guys wrong. Um, yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know. Go with the best opportunity. Go with the best opportunity. Couple other things to note. I'm gonna jump right into the commodities in a second here. Just scrolling down because again, we are kind of talking about currencies, and again, the cryptos are kind of in the currency realm. You currently can't trade them in Nadex, but they're getting pretty close to when you can. Um, I think one of my students screenshotted like one of the like in demo. I guess I think there was Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. I think were over there. Um, don't know when they're officially going to be here, but I believe they are coming. So, not something that I look at on a regular basis, but I do kind of keep track to see where the money is flowing. If it's out of currencies into gold and Bitcoin, you're seeing a little bit go back into Bitcoin. And again, they are, Bitcoin is above 50 right now. So that's a big psychological number. I heard somebody last week, and again, you know how like CNBC always has these people like, oh yeah, it's gonna go here. Like it's the headline. They were saying that Bitcoin was going to be at 100,000 by the end of the year. I wanted to know if she was the same lady that said silver was going to go to 100 by the end of the year because that's not trending great. But yeah, we'll see. Silver is nowhere close. I'm pretty sure. So put it this way: if silver gets to 100 by the end of the year, something went crazy. Anyway, here's oil. All right, so oil. Um, Oil's bouncing. We talked about those extensions at 79. We're kind of sitting right at that 79 mark right now. Yesterday had that huge push, and then once the U.S. market closed at 230, it just flatlined until really kind of about 6:30, 7 o'clock today when a U.S. trader could start coming online. You can see right now we're kind of retracing back, right? We're not really. It's not continuing its momentum right now. Like it's almost at the kind of what I would say the exhaustion stage. It's a bigger European, like this is a normal European one. You can say small, small. When there's big, we tend to have it big, but it reverses, right? It's a decent size, and we're kind of just seeing a pull back down. Now, remember later on today we get the API report. Could we, have could we have a full push back down? Potentially. I mean, if we see another surplus number this week, that'll be 2 weeks in a row with surplus numbers. And again, we're some of the biggest users in the world. Um, Another week of surplus. I mean, at this point, the OPEC news is out, right? The market is now adjusted. Now the question is, okay, remember, oil prices are driven purely by supply and demand, but it's more of a battle of suppliers versus consumers, right? Right now, the suppliers are trying to control price through how much supply they have because they don't want to oversaturate the market, right? But meanwhile, consumers are on the other side. If we have a continued surplus 2 weeks in a row, that means consumers are not happy with the price of oil right now. As supply starts to build, that should again drive price down because again, if you have supply in your tanks, you're not buying more oil, right? You don't need more oil or more gas if your tanks are already full, right? That's where they need to really start focusing on things, and that could be where price turns. So, again, you're not going to be trading this one, with an hour and a half to go inside of this market for today. It is pulling back down again. I do like the fact that it is kind of pushed up higher. The question is, can we push into the 80s? Right? Can we get to 80 before the EIA number tomorrow? Um, could we get another down draw today in API? Gives us enough of a push to bring us up to 80. That way, the media can be like, "Oh, look at this, $80, guys! Everybody should go long oil," and then we get a surplus again tomorrow morning to drop it. So, a couple interesting scenarios. But right now with oil, again, if you've been trading this one, if you didn't catch that initial bounce, it did turn and it spiked and it closed. Again, remember we talk about reversal times. The top of this green candle is right there. Actually, 11 o'clock was the peak. 11 o'clock was the peak today, not 10:30. But again, so in that same range, and we're kind of like right at the open, right? So I mean, thankfully the Europeans moved the market yesterday, but the U.S. session is kind of coming in flat today. So yeah, it is what it is. So gold, gold heading down. But look at this. It is down for the day. It's down zero point 0.6. All it did was grab that level again. I love it. This is great. I'm happy about this one. Um, Again, we were looking at a Harry Potter to take advantage of this big movement price the other day. The fact that it hit my level again, love it. You would not have gotten into the trade, right? It has not met your requirements, but it hit the level again, showing us that, again, it's eating up more orders there, making it even better of a position. So, liking this one, again, we got to get that break of 1746. Top side, again, we've seen some sellers step in a little bit early down here at 1768. We can continue that across, but we're kind of smack in the middle. Both API numbers, both the API non-farm as well as the regular non-farm, should help us a bit. Seeing comments from people saying, "Yeah, inflation should help drive gold higher, not going down." But at this point, it's kind of it's interesting. People are almost using the cryptos as more of a hedge for inflation than gold right now. Think that's extremely dangerous. Yeah, I mean, even I think I saw an article yesterday. One of my students posted it that Biden was making comments about how we need the digital dollar now. It's like whoa, right? So countries with digital currencies are not necessarily the best for the cryptos of the world. I mean, China is basically completely anti-crypto at this point, outlawed at jail time, everything else. China is considered more of a factor in kind of going, global financial policy going forward than the United States is right now. We're taking kind of more of a back seat. Um, yeah, once you have your own digital currency, you can control it, and yeah, it only takes. I mean, just think about what happened to the price of Bitcoin if the United States adopted the same policies that China had, where it's illegal to mine it here, it's illegal to use it to pay for things, and it's illegal to trade it with other people. If you did those things, what would the price of Bitcoin do? Right? Be a massive kind of overseas, quick, get rid of it, hurry, fast, fast, fast. But that would market would crash. And remember, you know, climate change is important unless you own Bitcoin, right? It's like one of the most unfriendly, things that exist inside of the financial world. And yeah, you can still do it. But that's why China says they outlawed it was because of climate change and how bad it is. And again, the draw on power that it takes. But watch those two levels: 1772, 1746, top and bottom. I think both those are good. Silver. Here's the zone that we drew yesterday talking about this one. It's literally just going sideways in a channel. So it's down 0.5%, but only because we were sitting over here. And like I said, it's bouncing between these two. We don't really have the same good quality kind of short in this one. I would say if we were going to draw kind of that little kind of collapse, it would be over here. And again, we got some room to run before we get over to that level. So my daughter's screaming my name in the hallway. We do have a 1 to 3 there. So I'd say right now, I mean, really silver's kind of in just like a waiting period. But 2191 is really kind of where that would need to crash down to. So yeah, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you were part of the Reddit crew, this is supposed to be at $100 and it's got 2 months, right? 2 months to go. Got actually, I guess not two. I guess it's three. Right? We have all of October, all of November, all of December. So I guess we got 3 months in all fairness. 3 months. So if it's so basically we need to move $25 in each of the next 3 months. So that would make this what 47. So according to Reddit and those guys, price is going to need to be up there by the end of the month. So yeah, actually by November. Yeah, I have this drawn to $100. That basically this is what it was supposed to do. It's supposed to be all the way up here to $100 by the end of the year. So yeah, so I'm not sure the Reddit traders got it right, but again, just be careful who you guys are listening to advice from. Like I said, I'll be laughing about this one on the 1st of January of next year. But yeah, watch that one. And then last but not least, let's go through and I'm going to cover natural gas. It is up 7% today. This is kind of the saga of natural gas, right? We have a level up top, right? 625 is a level that we've seen sellers step in and kind of, I say save us, but it's kind of like save me. I don't use natural gas, but you guys know that I have We have I need to purchase propane, right? I have a two system house, our downstairs one and our fireplace and range uses propane, and then we have a heat pump upstairs. I'm at 20%. I need to buy it. But yeah, so we don't want it here. We want it back much farther. We want it like all the way back down into like levels back down here. Actually, even I would take even lower levels of September last year. I would love for it to be back down in the $4.50 range, but no, we were up here in the $6 range. So yeah, and there's no shortage of natural gas. Just so everybody knows, there's zero shortage of natural gas. But yeah, if there's a bubble right now, I would say that natural gas is probably the biggest bubble in the market right now. But right now, there is a level right above. Again, be cautious. This one only has about an hour and a half to go, but 625 is a level that we saw sellers step in the past. Would love for it to go that direction. We'll see if it does or not. Oops, excuse me. But it's there. Now, looking at bonds, again, bond prices going down, I mean, yields are going higher, right? Higher yields are good. It tends to take money out of gold, and people will, again, goes from gold into bonds. So that's may have a little bit to do with it. And again, we're kind of holding firm down here at 143. Not necessarily trading this, but again, this does affect gold. As I said, the cryptos, Bitcoin is at 50 right now. Again, big psychological number. Some of the other things out there going on. Apple having a good day today. Apple rallying back up again, but we are running into a gap level. So again, not looking the best for Apple. And again, that coincides with the big push we saw in indices. Will they potentially roll? Tesla, on the other hand, is a little bit to the downside, a third down. Again, you're not trading Tesla over there, but again, looking at these are components inside of some of the big, a lot of mutual funds. A lot of people have Tesla right now. And again, the VIX. Look at the VIX. VIX is dropping, but again, I'm not necessarily a VIX trader, but when you're looking at areas where buyers have stepped in the past, that's kind of where we're at. It's a ding, 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 ding 4 times. Could it go lower? Sure. Go a bit lower here, and then again, the dollar index. Here's where we drew this yesterday morning. We talked about it coming down and turning. Well, there was your turn, and it literally pretty much followed our path almost exactly before rolling back down again. So again, dollar's got a little bit more weakness available here. We can go down another 20 cents in the dollar, which again will affect all the currency pairs. So, you know, I would say watch out for some big things tomorrow. Again, this non-farm number, it was quite a surprise last time, quite a big miss. Uh, Definitely some potential in there for some movement tomorrow morning. And being at 8:15, the volume hasn't kicked in. Don't get caught in a trap at the open tomorrow. It definitely could happen. Crude oil inventories at 10:30. Like I said, we don't necessarily have the forecast yet. They haven't given it to us. I was just trying to see if they update it now. And don't forget, if you don't know where the API report is, just go into Google, type API, inventory report, and they'll take you right to kind of where the link is. You don't have to pay any money or anything to get it. So, yeah, watch out for that one. But I think that's going to be a great one for tomorrow. And again, look for some type of reversal in the pound yen. All right. So with that said, look at that. I made it within 2 minutes. You think I've done this once or twice, right? Again, October 5th is not when it's going to be. Next week would be October 12th. Let me change it again real quick. I knew I forgot something today. I'm going to blame Todd. But anyway, October 12th, 12 p.m. The only caveat to that would be is if the baby does arrive. Melissa is due next Saturday. Actually, this Saturday. I can't say next Saturday. She is technically due on the 9th. I guess we find out tomorrow when the induction date is. I told her any day but Tuesday is good, and she just kind of gave me a look. So just a word of warning, if I'm not around next week or we have to cancel it, it's probably because the baby got here. I'm not going to tell anybody names, but hopefully, the next time I see you guys for one of these presentations, I'm kind of hoping that I'll be able to tell you what the name is. I won't have a new family picture, obviously, but I can share the name with you. It is a boy. It is a boy, so it'll be boy number 3. But, is what it is. So anyway, with that said, I hope you guys have an absolutely amazing time trading this week. Been a lot of opportunities, and I will say, if you have any questions for me, please don't hesitate to shoot me a message. Support at keeptradingsimple.com. If you're not catching us in the morning for that broadcast, please watch it or go watch it later in the day. You can always pick something up from it. It's really meant for the trading opportunities during the day, but if you have not watched them, they're only 15 minutes. Go click on a bunch of them. Again, you can learn so much by looking at charts. And again, that's why I do these, so you guys can take some golden nuggets and incorporate it into your own trading. And again, as I said, if you guys did not sign up for a mentor session, there are still sessions available. It's not till the end of the month, though. Go find the Education Summit, how to trade gold. What was it? How to trade oil and natural gas around economic events, basically news releases. And I think the code is in the text, but if not, it's at the very, very end. Just type the code in. It's a calendar. Schedule yourself a mentor session. Like I said, I've been having a blast doing them. I was really, really concerned in the beginning that it was going to be all over the place. They've been super focused. Everybody has been absolutely amazing and great. And I got a bunch more to do, but it's been a blast. So hopefully you guys can join me there too. With that said, I'm out of here. Have a great trading day, and I'll catch you guys later. Take care.